Global community, what's the deal? What we on? Today I got another compilation of TikToks that's non-mainstream. We're gonna give you the news and insight that the mainstream media is not gonna bring to you. We're gonna disassociate from that indoctrination system and try to give us our whole life and get right to the details. Sum up the comments, hit that like button on the way in, Globes in the chat.
Cash Global TV subscribe.
Do you see it as an effective way to control crime or keep society in line?
Well, I think you have to on bad cases. You can't, for certain things you can do other things, but the way death row was set up, it's pretty bad. You have to have a pretty bad crime to be put on death row. You have to have a combination of or something like that before you qualify for it. But sooner or later, these other non-serious crimes, in my view, will have to be done other ways because the taxpayer's not going to pay to have all of them locked up. Too many of them.
It gets expensive, right?
Yeah.
So as warden at Holman, part of your job was to perform the executions, right?
Right.
You're using the electric chair or lethal injections?
It was a chair.
So by the time a man gets to the electric chair, where do you see your role in the end of his life? Do you see it as you're responsible for that? You're the one that's pulling the trigger?
Do you think Bigfoot is an animal, or do you think Bigfoot is an interdimensional being that is going through portals in the national parks, and that's why they invented the national parks, was to protect these portals? Also, is that why Missing 411 exists? And Missing 411 is people that go missing in national parks under mysterious circumstances, or they never turn up ever again. They just disappear off the face of the earth, or they end up in places like miles away from where they started in locations they couldn't have got alone. Look at these maps. The top map is Missing 411. The bottom map is Bigfoot sightings in the United States. Do you see a correlation there? I'm not saying Bigfoot is taking these people by any means. All I'm saying is if Bigfoot's going through portals, what if these people are going through portals too?
Also, always question things and think. I know a lot of people believe in Bigfoot because there is no proof, but he's allegedly an interdimensional being. What's going to be the final outcome on Bigfoot? What y'all think? I don't know.
If you think you're following me, you're probably not. I was banned on my old account. This is a new account. And yes, I know I fucked up the maps. I'm sorry.
42,000 people tested positive for STDs that went to Houston this spring break. And I know you've all seen the nasty videos of what was happening over there, but could you imagine being as useless as to be 25 plus years old, spring breaking, at your grown-ass age, hoeing out? Our society's so fucked. These are going to be feel old. And a lot of them probably got pregnant.
This video came out 14 years ago, showcasing the CIA's ability to track and trace and surveil. This is before Palantir. Can you imagine how advanced it is now? Especially considering the word on the street is that every year that we advance technologically in public, like decades worth of advancement happens behind the scenes. I think some of their new surveillance tech involves frequencies. And it's amazing how much surveillance they can have, yet there's still so many bad guys out there, and in fact, rings and organizations of them. Crazy that they can't stop them.
Yeah, it's over. McDonald's, they don't want any interaction. They took the whole menu off of the screen. They want you to order here. The robots are taking over. It's over. They say don't bother our employees, our 2 employees that we have. It's over.
You think that was a hit? Or you think...
Oh, I for sure think it was a hit. For sure. And he was taken out for multiple reasons.
Yeah, what is the reason?
He was the most influential person when it came to the 2 youngest generations, without question. He had the most ability to not only influence them, but to be effective and actually change their way of thinking. And towards the end of his life, he started to change the messaging that he was putting out there. People will try to say he didn't, but he absolutely did. He started to question everything that Israel was doing. He started to question all of the funding. He started to question everything that was happening with Epstein. He started to challenge the administration on attacking Iran, on the Epstein files, on all those things. He was starting to get very loud. He platformed people that were also very aware of what Israel was doing. My opinion, allegedly, is he was taken out.
Telling me that over a dozen bottlenose dolphins like Gerald have now just washed ashore dead since you and I have been talking about Gerald. The government does not want you to know that Gerald is real. So to make sure you don't know about him, they're just killing all of them in Florida. Yeah, if you don't know what I'm talking about, and you can Google it, you can research it, you can go to the Florida news. Over dozens of dolphins, bottlenose dolphins like Gerald, are now just washing ashore dead. They're just showing up dead on the shore. And they're honestly trying to say it might be disease outbreak or environmental stress. You think? This one takes the cake. Food supply is diminishing. But this is the one. Human-related issues. Yeah, humans are killing them. As a person who grew up in Sarasota, Florida with dolphins and manatees, dolphins, especially a dozen of them, don't just wash up on a shore where stories have been told dead. That doesn't happen unless someone is making that happen. I wish to God that what I was telling you was fake. It was made up, but it's not. They are dying. Dolphins are showing up dead in Florida now. Isn't it ironic? No, it's not. Since you and I have talked about Gerald in March, over 20 bottlenose dolphins are dead now.
RP them dolphins, definitely 1,000%. But how's y'all feeling on that situation with the guy being kidnapped by the dolphins and all his physical attributes are lining up, the tests are lining up with the water in his lungs and things of that nature? Was that a true story, or was he just out of his mind, batshit crazy? Let me know. World's a strange place.
Chris Bledsoe.
Chris who?
Bledsoe, the guy talking about the orb showing up in Iran, called it years ago.
I didn't catch that. What happened?
Man, they're out there now, exactly like he said. Whole sky lighting up, cameras catching it. Chris Bledsoe,
That's
yo.
wild.
So he said that when Iran was going to live missiles, that the awards were going to show up in April 2026.
He called the date, like the exact month?
April, yeah. Said the sky would light up and they'd be watching over the launch.
That's wild.
We'll know soon enough.
More coming from him later.
Anybody who's familiar with Chris Bledsoe and Chris Bledsoe's story, he has been contacted by the extraterrestrial beings and has been given elite knowledge allegedly and knows some key dates from some divine feminine beings. We're going to go down that rabbit hole, community. Don't you even worry about it.
The whole Facebook movie is a giant lie. It's a propaganda piece. That was a Pentagon program called LifeLog. LifeLog is a Pentagon program that wants to collect all your data for your whole life. What day did the government stop the LifeLog project?
Whoa. DARPA shut down the LifeLog project February 4th, 2004.
What day was Facebook registered as a business?
God, no way, bro.
The exact same day. They don't even hide it, dude.
It was created by DARPA.
Yeah, they handed it to Mark Zuckerberg. And then the Vossel twins.
What about the other? Yeah.
That's all. And that's why they became the first Bitcoin millionaires, because they played ball.
Oh my God.
It's all theater, dude.
So what is the purpose of LifeLog?
To collect all your data for your whole entire life.
What is evil?
Clean, get it done with. Doesn't matter that I signed the blood oath. Doesn't matter anymore. The Illuminati's real. I'm a member. It's how Imagine Dragons got famous. I'm tired of the politics. It puts me at great risk putting this out here and telling you guys this, but I believe in full honesty. And Beyonce's not talking. Chris Martin, nobody's saying a word. So there it is. There.
In that clip you just saw, we can clearly hear Imagine Dragons lead singer Dan Reynolds open up about some very dark stuff. Now, of course, after he posted that short video, he would denounce it and say it was totally satire for entertainment purposes only, right? Found these lyrics from a song ironically titled Demons by Imagine Dragons. First, they talk about dreams failing, and the ones they're hailing are the worst of all. They also state, I want to hide the truth, I want to shelter you. But with the beast inside, there's nowhere we can hide. They would also go on to state, "Look into my eyes. That's where my demons hide. It's dark inside." Last but not least, they state, "Don't want to let you down, but I am hellbound." Whoa. So does nobody else find it weird that over the years, hundreds of celebrities have all come out claiming the same type of things? And quite literally, every time a video or claim like that drops, later on they claim it's satire and they were just kidding. It was all one big joke. Comment below with your thoughts. Am I onto something or am I tripping? Wake up.
It's crazy. Have you ever heard the phrase, "They don't make them like they used to"? Well, there's a reason why. It's called the planned obsolescence. So back in 1924, in Geneva, Switzerland, a group of elites met together. They all owned light bulb manufacturers, and they said, "Our light bulbs last too long."
That just goes to show right there, history is a set of lies that was agreed upon.
Their sales were going down because their light bulbs were too good. Their light bulbs at that time could run for about 2,000 hours. They're like, "We need to cut that in half." So they all agreed, all shook on it. "We need to crap your products to sell more." They all had to send their light bulbs to get tested. And if it went over 1,000 hours, that company was fine. And so from that meeting, they came up with a term to call themselves the Phoebus Cartel. Phoebus is the god of light. And that term, planned obsolescence, was adopted to every single product now.
Yeah.
Like iPhone, they don't last forever.
Well, TMZ got the picture when Justin Bieber and Usher got into it. Y'all can see Justin Bieber ain't playing no games. This man got a white suit on and he jacking his ass up. Usher's is more like, "Damn fool, like get up on me." And as y'all can see by Beyonce's face, he must have been saying some crazy shit to Usher. Now for a face that shocked and the way he looking right here, I can just imagine Justin Bieber saying, "You're the reason why I'm going through all this depression. You had me at a young age. You brought me into this life." And y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm not saying that's what happened, but who knows?
Justin Bieber has a lot of what I call in the hood trenches untreated trauma. He hasn't got a chance to express himself his whole life. It's been methodically mapped out for him. Don't want to say he's going to crash out, but I wonder what that conversation was about for him to know that all these cameras is around and I don't care. I'm surprised he just ain't go all the way with it.
Justin Bieber and Usher getting into a massive conflict at the Oscar after party? No one realized this intense argument.
Nothing evil was ever in our household in that capacity. My dad
And I believe you.
I mean, my dad was a believer in Christ. He had
was.
a Bible, like, yes.
How do you make it in the industry? Well, we have rock star Ronnie James Dio right here telling a story about how he summoned Baal or Baal, and then how the demon physically manifested around them and changed things in the room. They all do it.
I think the most memorable thing about that album is all the occult things that we went through, because we went through a severe phase of contacting a spirit that was the most scary thing I think any of us have ever been through. We'd always dabbled before. Certainly Richie did and I did, which is one of our points of conjecture, connection, I think. And we rose a spirit named Baal. So not to go into the whole thing, Baal was this really evil spirit whose name is on the album, on the Long and Rock Roll album. It says thanks to so on, thanks, like no thanks to Baal, who was really chaotic in, stopping this album. I mean, the tape machines would just suddenly stop on their own. Doors that were locked that had only one key to one person whom we trusted would go up there and things would be playing. And, and it just never ended. And it was the whole progression of that. Toward the very end, my manager, Wendy, and my wife, Wendy Dio, got pushed down the stairs and accused me of it. I was walking down the stairs. Cozy was behind me. She was probably 5 or 6 stairs ahead of me.
Come on, man, you pushed her down the stairs, you blame Baal, right? No, but really, they all do this. And you think it's only rock stars like Jimmy Page summoning demons, having them at the foot of his bed? Buying Aleister Crowley's house where all these rituals are done? Juice WRLD, A$AP Rocky, they all showed you they were summoning demons. But yeah, keep thinking it's a joke. Let me know in the comments, who are some artists these days that actually aren't Satanists?
How much do you want for it? Let's bid. I bid $500. But I'll bid him anyway. Whatever I bet he's gonna outbid me. I bought about $60,000 worth of eggs. Yeah. If you have a abortion, that's very valuable. Umbilical cord, placenta, even your period blood is so rich with stem cells. We regard it as waste, and it actually should be. It should be captured as recycled, and it shouldn't go to waste. It's life for somebody, It's life for
a scientific reality to ancient cultures.
Yeah.
Interestingly, the stories about the Ark of the Covenant, it was sheathed in gold, and it would have been extremely heavy. Would have been very difficult for people to lift. And, it was carried on staves because no one, according to the accounts, no one could touch it. The only tribe that was allowed of the 12 tribes to actually transport and move the Ark of the Covenant, the Levites, levitation.
Got it.
Having looked into some of these mystery religions like Kabbalah and stuff that say that there's hidden meanings to the words in the language, that caught my eye, and I thought, that's an interesting coincidence.
Steven Spielberg screening E.T. in the White House. And Steven Spielberg says in an interview, Reagan faced all these national security advisors in the room and said, all of you know that what is on that screen is absolutely real. And it's like, come on. Gorbachev, I think it's an interview with Charlie Rose, where he talks about some UN event where he's sitting next to Reagan. And Reagan literally leans over and he goes, Mr. President, would you join forces with us in the event that there were an alien threat? He's like freaked out. And he goes, of course, Mr. President.
Yeah, all those speeches, you put them together and you're like,
global community, why do you think this so-called disclosure has been taking so long? Will it make that much of an incapacitating difference where it's just going to change the whole structure of everything? Let me know how y'all really feel about it. Or are we just overexposed to everything and it's just whatever? Why has it been drip-feeded and such a big psyop this whole time? What's the deal?
Absolutely real. And it's like, come on. Gorbachev, I think it's an interview with Charlie Rose, where he talks about some UN event where he's sitting next to Reagan. And Reagan literally leans over and he goes, Mr. President, would you join forces with us in the event that there were an alien threat? He's like freaked out. And he goes, of course, Mr. President.
yeah, all those speeches, you put them together and you're like, I'm playing sight.
7 things you didn't know about the Las Vegas tragedy part 2. And just a heads up, there are some very real photos up in here. And number 3, the cops actually hesitated before breaking into Stephen's room during the shooting. He had a pretty solid reason though, because the guy had already shot 200 rounds at the door towards the security guard and struck him in the leg. So they waited for 8 more officers to arrive and
pay attention to how many different gunshots and different types of artillery you hear being used right now. Everybody listen very closely. Entertainment purposes only.
So when they radioed to see if they could break in, they said to wait for the SWAT team. The SWAT team eventually blew the door off with some explosives, and when they went inside, he was already dead. He had let off over 1,000 rounds into the crowd, and over 800 people were injured and 60 died.
We don't see anybody actually injured.
This became America's deadliest shooting, and for some reason, I feel like no one really talks about it anymore, and even when I researched it, there wasn't a whole lot of videos compared to other incidents or even podcasts. There's a lot of weird facts and things that happened surrounding this, and some theories that kind of make sense. Theories outside the official story. Number 4, a police officer let off 3 random rounds inside Stephen's room after they broke in, and he was already dead. After the SWAT team and the local police made it into the room, they found that he had taken his life. They did a sweep to make sure no one else was in there. And when they went to the second sweep, one of the police officers let off 3 rounds, but he said it was an accident, but no one was in there. That is verified, but keep that in mind for later. And number 5, they found 23 guns in his room, which is kind of a suspicious number. At first you would think, okay, maybe he was going to use all of them just to go crazy, But really, that's a lot of work. He could just get a bunch of ammunition for a couple guns, or even one. Keep that in mind for later as well. In number 6, they found a note in his room that had calculations like the distance from his hotel room to the music festival, the winds, and according to the official story, that proves that he had this planned. In number 7, there's a theory that Stephen actually worked for the government and this was an arms deal gone wrong. It sounds crazy, but there's actually some pretty compelling evidence, and we're going to cover that in part 3.
He also missed a couple of things. There was also a shooter on the runway, and you can also hear the transcripts with that live. You can hear them telling them to cut the lights off on the runway. Why not cut them on? I don't know. A lot of things we were not being told about that night. A whole bunch of things going on allegedly in that one situation. What really took place? Do y'all have any idea? Let me know what y'all feel about it.
Symbolism he actually uses, but of course the media always covers it up. His pregame ritual is what scares me the most. Take a very close look to see what he's doing with his hands. He points to whatever he believes in, puts his hand together for the Illuminati sign, and then does the 666 devil horns with his hands. And if you think I'm crazy, please tell me what else this could possibly be, because I would love to be wrong. The tattoo on his chest marks the Boulay Foundation, which only the rich can join, and in order to join this, you need to have loyalty.
If you had to choose, would you rather know what was going on in Antarctica, the Vatican, or Area 51? Because never ending. When I was thinking about the Vatican earlier, I was like, think about the fact that the Bible itself had 80 books in the 1600s. Now we're down to 66, and they removed things like giants, dragons, sirens, Enoch, the Book of Mary Magdalene. All of these different things are hidden from us, and we just don't even know why. Nevertheless, I saw this guy talking about the fact that there were 200 angels that fell from the sky, and around the earth we have 190 craters that have no rock or rubble that were ever found. And then this other person was like, yeah, 10 of them fell into the ocean. Then this lady blew my mind because she was like, what if that's what took the dinosaurs? And why would there be a book about dragons if dragons never existed? And I've gone down so many rabbit holes in the last couple of days that my mind is completely depleted and exhausted, but I'm also super intrigued and I just want to know more. But I feel like I'm just going in circles because every time I uncover a layer, I end up looking into something else that has nothing to do with what I was looking for, and then I'm just stuck because I'm like, I didn't know this either. So what do y'all think about this? Like, if you had to choose, what would you go to first?
We're going to end it on that. If you had to choose to find out what was the fact, the Miami situation, the Vegas situation, the other Vegas situation, but with a 9, you know what? The C with the, let me know, what would y'all want to know for sure 100% is factual or non-factual what really took place. But we're going to end it right there. Let me know how y'all feel about that compilation. I'm going to keep bringing you 2 a day. I am Cash, capital K, $ for the S. One person will never know everything, but as a collective, we can figure it all out. Shout out to the global community. Drop them gloves in the chat before you get up out of here.
In my fortress, my swag get drippin', make these whores sick. This shit come effortless. Why you sweating, hoes tryna force it? This new Louis drip from this season. I pull up yoking, serving, doing hella shit in the latest Beamer. Plenty garbage bags full of LCGs. Nigga, please, I've been jumping flights since 2013. Moving boxes, making plays, I gotta fill these orders. Load them 18-wheelers up, then get them cross the border. Matter of fact, here go my runner right now. I got your ticket, take this bag, I'ma drop you off and then you out. We out.